Hello, night class. Miss Celeste here to lecture A&P for you. We are doing A&P chapter 29 in your big book, which starts on page 692. If you want to join me there in the big book on page 692. All right, so the gastrointestinal system or the digestive system. In the second column, I want you to know the digestive system has three main functions: digestion, absorption, and elimination. So these functions help provide our body with nourishment, energy, and maintain homeostasis. All right, we're going to start under the mouth on page 693 now in the second column. And before we get there, also, I would like you to study figure 29.1 above the digestive system. You should know the anatomical sites of the digestive system. All right, the mouth. So the digestive process starts with chewing food in the mouth, which is called mastication. Saliva actually has a job of chemically breaking down the food. So that's its job, is to chemically break it down, and once it's chewed up and swallowed, it becomes a bolus, which is just a ball of food that's all soft and a little gross to think about, but a soft ball of food ready for swallowing. On to the next page. The mouth, also called the oral cavity, is formed by your palate, the lips and cheeks, and the tongue. In the second paragraph, within the oral cavity, the teeth are held in place by the gingivae, med-term, you need to know, or gums. A mucous membrane covers the skeletal system that forms the tongue. Elevations, known as papillae, cover the tongue, and your taste buds, you need to know, are found within the papillae. So taste buds found within the papillae. 4 types of taste buds. Get your tastes and decipher which it is. We have sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. There's also a 5th taste, which is for savory, but it's only recently been identified. They don't know a whole lot about that one yet. All right, so on to the teeth, which have a big part in the digestive system because that's how we chew up the food. Humans have 2 sets of teeth. We have 20 deciduous teeth, which are your baby teeth, and 32 permanent teeth. So 20 and 32. And we all know what happens to the baby teeth. We lose them. The deciduous teeth, or your baby teeth, are smaller, and they resemble the permanent teeth, just smaller. Let's see, on to the teeth. We have our canine teeth on the next page. The upper canines are also known as eye teeth and are larger than the lower. And then the lower canines are often called your stomach teeth. Then we have our molar teeth, which are the largest in your permanent set and are for grinding the food. Let's talk about the parts of the tooth now. Each tooth consists of 3 main parts. We have the crown, which is the part above the gum, so this is what we see. And then we have the root, which is embedded in the gums, and the neck, which is between the root and the crown. And there's a good picture there that illustrates that if you want to look at that in the second column, page 695. All right, the enamel. Let's talk about the enamel. It's the hardest and most compact part of the tooth. It covers your crown. And we only get 1 enamel, so we have to be really careful with our enamel and take good care of it. Things that are really bad on your enamel would be like coffee. All right, on to the next page. We're going to go on to the esophagus. So the esophagus, collapsible tube about 10 inches long, starts at the pharynx and ends at the stomach. Food and liquids are carried down it by involuntary muscular contractions known as peristalsis. So I want you to know about peristalsis. These are wave-like contractions that move everything through the digestive system. So the wave-like contractions that make sure everything keeps moving is peristalsis. All right, onto the stomach. The stomach, large, muscular, sac-like organ that can hold 1 to 1.5 liters of food and fluid. Digestion begins in the mouth, continues in the stomach. The stomach secretes hydrochloric and gastric juices that convert food into chyme, which is a semi-liquid that's passed into the small intestines for further digestion. So chyme, semi-liquid food ready for further digestion from the stomach. Right into the small intestine. The small intestine is 21 feet long. So it's about 21 feet long. It's about 1 inch in diameter, coiled within the lower abdomen. And I always like to think about how cool that is. We have approximately 26 feet of intestines between the large and the small intestine, coiled up and wrapped up in our abdomen. And I think that I always like to pause here and think about that. That is so cool and insane. That's long. We have 26 feet all coiled up in our abdomen. The first 12 inches of the small intestine are your duodenum. So know your parts of the small intestine. We have the duodenum, and then the next 8 feet of the small intestine are the jejunum, and the last 12 are the ileum. Digestion continues here. During this time, nutrient absorption takes place. So this is where we absorb all the stuff that's good for us. The microscopic capillaries and lymph vessels that line the walls of the small intestine absorb the nutrients and then send them to the rest of the body by way of the circulatory system. So it gets absorbed in the small intestine and then sent out to nourish the whole body and do its job by the circulatory system. All right, the large intestine now. So the small intestine ends at the ileocecal orifice in the large intestine. At that point, the valve connects the ileum of the small intestine to the cecum of the large intestine. And your large intestine is about 5 feet long and 2.5 inches in diameter. The functions are to complete digestion and absorption. So completing digestion and absorption here. Accessory organs of the digestion. All right, so other important parts that help in digestion you need to know are your salivary glands, your liver, your gallbladder, and your pancreas. So they're not necessarily part of the digestive tract, but they have functions that help. So starting with the salivary glands, located in and near the mouth. Saliva is produced by a neurological response to sight, smell, taste, or mental image of food. So I think that's really cool. It's not just when we see food. It also has a lot to do with smell, and you can also just think about it. If you're just thinking about food and being hungry, you can start to activate your salivary glands. 3 pairs of salivary glands. We have the parotid glands, the submandibular glands, and the sublingual glands, all named for where they are in the face. So if you just take a look at the picture on page 697, it kind of shows where they are. On to the next page where we talk about the liver. Right, the liver, located in the upper right quadrant of the abdomen. It is the largest glandular organ, weighs about 3.5 pounds in a healthy average adult. So the liver, about 3.5 pounds. To metabolize fat, the liver produces bile, which emulsifies your fats or breaks them down into smaller particles so that we can use them. And it also produces heparin, which is for clotting of blood. So your liver's responsibilities, bile and heparin. Onto the gallbladder. The gallbladder is a membranous sac in which bile is stored and concentrated. Bile stored in the gallbladder is 6 to 10 times more concentrated than bile produced by the liver. So it's a lot more stronger, it's a lot more concentrated in the gallbladder versus the liver. All right, now I think we'll jump on to common pathology associated with the digestive system, starting with appendicitis. So inflammation of the appendix, we should know that if we know med term. Anyone can get this. It's pretty common. Signs and symptoms, so pain, acute pain on the abdomen, so located on the right side of the abdomen. So the right side of the abdomen, approximately a third of the distance between the right iliac crest and the umbilicus, or your hip and navel. You should know appendicitis, this is a medical emergency. So it's emergent. We need to get it taken care of as soon as possible. So if we identify this pain, someone needs to go to the emergency room, where they will most likely have an appendectomy. Med term, you should know what that means. All right, table 29.2. I would read through this box and onto the next page. It's pretty long, but I do think it's important